Welcome to the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, friends and visitors, to the house of truth and life, where peace is our goal and objective. Today, we have a very fascinating subject, but before we get into that, let's go to the scriptures. We'll read from Psalms 46. God is our refuge and strength. He is very present help in trouble. Therefore will not we fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. Selah. There is a river, the streams whereof shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not move. God shall help her, and that right early. The heathen raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord, what desolations he hath made in the earth. He maketh wars to cease unto the ends of the world, of the earth. He breaketh the bow and cutteth the spear in sunder. He burneth the chariot in the fire. Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for visiting, for tuning in today. Again, as I said earlier, we have a very important subject. This subject, as you see on the screen, united we stand, divided we fall. What is this about? It's an opportunity for the children of slavery, the Jacobites, to come together and make their presence known, to take advantage of the unity that we have as a collective. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the historical perspective of our people. And one of the things that I know for certain is that the children of slavery, the Jacobites, are highly spiritual. Of all the gifts that we have received, our spirituality is the top. Whatever we are involved with, whether it be music, whether it be sports or dancing, the success of our endeavor is attributed or can be attributed to our spirituality. We are the only people on this earth that have sung the history and culture of the Holy Bible. The only people. And we did not just do this because we had nothing better to do. We did it in the face of adversity. When we got off the slave ships in Virginia in 1619, we sang our history and culture. What does that tell you? It gives you an indication of whom we are, of whose we are. It tells you that we are the children of Israel, the chosen people, to witness unto the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. No other people on the face of this earth has done that. Most importantly, however, it tells you that we are a family of 12 sons, a family of 12 tribes, a family that works together when we come together in harmony. This is the essence of our subject today. That family returning home to our Father's house to show our Father that we have not forgotten him, and we to show each other that we long for that support, that structure, whereby we work together as one body, even as the body of Christ. We need each other. And it's important that we understand this, because we cannot succeed in this world unless we come together as one. So you might ask me, why do I say that? Why do I say we cannot succeed? Well, look at the record of history for yourself, and you will see what's happening. Everybody else is making it, but we are still struggling, even after the end of our enslavement. We live in a world that is governed primarily by lies, by vanity, by deception, and by violence. Again, lies, vanity, deception, and violence. These are the pillars that rule this world in which we live. We need to overcome that. And the only way we could do it is when we come together like a fist. Remember, 5 fingers coming together to make a fist. Then we can defend ourselves. Without that, each finger on its own can't do much. So we have to remember that. And this is only 5. Can you imagine if we had 12? We do have 12 tribes, that is. So we need then to be more careful and more disciplined in how we approach the circumstances that we face today. And if you look at it and look at the circumstances, you will see that only 12 of us working together as one body can make a difference. And it's not only for us, it's for the entire world, because we have a job to do. We are not only here to look after ourselves, we are here to declare the name of our Father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. We have a great deal. I'll tell you something, too, about myself. You know, before I understood who I am today, I was living comfortably, but I only found out that what I considered comfort was ignorance, because I did not even have a clue about my history and culture as an Israelite. In order to get to that level, I had to make a connection with somebody else. I made a connection with Elder Shadrach, and he is the one that introduced me. And Elder Shadrach, just to let you know, for those of you who are new, is our master teacher. He's the founder of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. And he's the one that taught me about my Israelite history and culture. Now, could you imagine? And by the way, this is the best time of my life for the last, I don't know how many years now, I stopped counting. But for all the time that I had lived before, I had no idea. As a matter of fact, I'm not even ashamed to tell you, I knew more about European history than I did about my own history. I knew nothing about my Israelite history and culture. And I wasn't a religious person, but only when I came together with other Israelites who understood what I did not know about me, was I able to draw from them, to learn from their teaching, and to be myself. And what does that mean? To be the person that I was put on this earth to be. This is what it means when we say, united we stand. When we come together as one body, we can make a difference, not only for self, but most importantly, for that entire body. It is like your body, with the head, with arms, with legs, all working together for the betterment of the individual. So Elder Shadrach was able to help me. I believe then that it is my duty as an Israelite to reach out to all the people that are interested in learning about the truth and sharing that information with them, that they too may become the best that they can be. Because without the truth, obviously everything else is a lie. Doesn't mean you can't make it with the lie, but it doesn't last like the truth will last. It doesn't profit you like the truth will profit you. So we, as Israelites, we are able to come together as one to show the world not only that there is a God who created the heavens and the earth, who formed the spirit of man within him, but he chose us to be his holy servant. He chose us to be his witnesses. And if this is the case, then we have to return that favor. In other words, we have a role to play, because we are not here just because we look good or because, we can't say we're rich. We're not. But the point is, there is a mission that we have to fulfill. Now, we know that for the last 40 years or so, our elder has made it clear about our 400 years of enslavement in this new Egypt. And that has been accurately portrayed, and it has been received universally relatively well. So let's build on that success. We've gone through a period of enslavement. We've suffered from 1619 to 2019. And now there's an opportunity for us to go to the next level. Now we are in the era of freedom and judgment. Our punishment is over, right? Now we have to move on to the next phase. What is that next phase? Our next phase is redemption. And we have to learn what it entails. How do we take advantage of this? How do we prepare ourselves? The best way to do that is to be unified, to come together as one. In this second phase, it will begin with judgment. And those of you who have eyes to see will see that it has already begun. Those of you who have ears to hear, will know that there is lots to be told and lots to be understood. We have to move from the bottom to the top. We've been at the bottom for over 400 years. But according to the record of our history and our culture, and you can read about this in Deuteronomy 28, for example, where it showed that we would endure for 400 years of slavery in the New Egypt. You can read about this in Genesis 15. Acts 7. I'll get to Genesis 15. Acts 7, 6 to 7. You will see the testimony of our brother Stephen. Moses testified in Deuteronomy 28. The point I'm making here, if there are two aspects to us, one of our punishment, another of our freedom. Our punishment has already expired. Now we have to enter into the pathway or the era of freedom. This is what this is all about. This means that we have to come back together. We have to return to our Father's house. We have to know his name, because you cannot live under the roof of your Father and not know his name. And you can't call him Yabba Dabba Doo, because that's not his name. The same way that we found in the scriptures of our punishment, the same way we have to go to our scriptures to find the name of our Father and how to approach him. Because without the name, all is vanity. Why don't we do that? Why don't we go to Genesis 15 and make it clear? Because a lot is going to be writing on this aspect. So with Genesis 15, we will read from verse 13. We've done this many times, but it doesn't hurt to do it again. It says, "And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. We've been there. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge." That's what I just said. We're in the era of judgment. "And afterward shall they come up with great substance." What is that great substance? I don't know exactly. But you know what I will say? Knowing the name of my Father is good enough for me. Because if I know his name, then I can ask him for whatever I want. I can give him thanks when I receive the reward. And I give him thanks by name. So all of these things are important. What child does not know the name of his or her father? If that child doesn't know the name of his or her father, then that child is considered, with all due respect, a bastard. Simple. So we have to get to that stage where we could glorify our Father, where we can express our gratitude for what he has done for us or what he is about to do, to show him that his choosing us will not be in vain. So all of what we are prepared to talk about today will be based primarily on the name of our Father, the name of our God. And let me tell you, it doesn't matter whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're purple, or whether you're green. You need to be free. And there is no freedom unless you know the name of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And if you know it, then you can call upon him, because therein is your freedom. Therein is the truth. And we have to take advantage. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, that we leave the plantation. We have to walk away from that Masonic Christian plantation and come into the house of light, the house of truth, the house of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. This is where we worship him in spirit and in truth. He is the Almighty King of all kings. He is the one that we should be calling on. No other name is relevant. His name is the real light. His name gives us the world leadership. His name gives us truth and freedom. His name is the beginning of pure religion. So the days of following the Gentiles are over. They're done. You don't have to invent a foreign language to impress your friends and neighbors. That is totally irrelevant. Neither do you have to edit the Word of God. And what do I mean by editing the Word or the wisdom of God? You don't have to change the J's to a Y. That makes no sense, because if you do that, if you leave the J's alone, you could have joy in your life. But if you change the J's to a Y, Misery. Take your pick. Joy or misery. Leave the J's alone. And then the scripture said, and maybe we should read that. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, and read it for ourselves. Because we're not supposed to make changes to the word. Any change to the word will invalidate the covenant that we have with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You don't want to make that. Then if you can find another way to impress your friends, but leave the scriptures alone. Let's go from Deuteronomy 4, from 1 to 9. It says, "Now therefore, hearken, O Israel," again, only to us, our Israelite royal family. "Hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that ye may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers giveth you." Verse 2, "Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you." If you change it, then you can't keep it. It's that simple. In order to keep it, you have to leave it where it is. You don't have the authority to change it. Verse 3, "Your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, the Lord thy God hath destroyed them from among you." We can't make the change. Others can do that if they want to. He's not their God. He's our God. So we have to be careful. Respect to our Father is important. And in order to respect our Father, we have to respect ourselves. 4, "But ye that did cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations." Your wisdom and your understanding. If you change it, you've lost your wisdom and you've lost your understanding. Leave it where it is. "Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." This is the reason why we cannot benefit from these words, because we've already made changes. If you make a change, or we listen to people that have made changes, what we are suggesting is that will be our downfall. Leave the scriptures the way they are, and let the glory and the prosperity and the wisdom and the light of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob develop or envelop you as an individual. Let it be on your head as a crown. Let it be part of your being, see, so that you could grow together in harmony with each other. But if you start to do things that are not permitted, then you are isolated, and people take advantage of that isolation. They use you so that they can make themselves rich. They put you down so that they can elevate themselves. Yes, I know it's a psychological problem that they have, but that's not our fault. That's on them. 7, "For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day? Only take heed to thyself, keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them to thy sons and thy sons' sons." This is a culture. This is a pattern of our success that is being laid out. We have to know, first of all, who we are and whose we are. We have to know how we should conduct ourselves. Once that is understood, then we can merge. We can come together and return to our Father's house, get to know more about him, and understand what he wants for us to do so that the world could be a better place, and especially our situation, which means that we will be at the top. We will be the head and not the tail, no longer the tail. But the only way that we could do that is if we follow the instructions of our Father. Remember, this is the era of our redemption. It starts with the judgment of our Father. We are now free. But freedom is not for us to do whatever we want to do, how we want to do it, when we want to do it. Freedom is following the instructions of our Father. That's how we grew up from a little baby before we could walk. This is the way it is today. We still have a lot of ground to cover. But this time, we're covering it from the top, not the bottom. So we have to get to know the instructions even better than before when we just learn mama and dada. Now we're going to learn how to call on our daddy and how we could serve him to the best of our ability. So the days of following the Gentiles are over. Let us not go back. As I said before, let us leave the plantation and go into the courts of our God. Let us work and serve him to the best of our ability. We are deserving of much more because we've been through a lot, and it is time that we take advantage of what is available to us. So now I want to go to the book of Joel. The book of Joel, because I know that there is a lot that is still to come, but we want to see, because we know exactly who we are, we know exactly what we have to do. What we don't know is how. And again, you're not going to know from without. If you want to know, you'll have to come home to the house, because when you're in your Father's house, there's much that will be discussed there. Let us go from Joel chapter 2. We will read from verse 25. You could read the entire thing at your leisure, but I'm going to go from verse 25. It says, "And I will restore to you," this is the God of Israel speaking through him, Joel, "I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm, the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you." These, we would say, are the ones, or the symbolism of the ones that enslaved us, the ones that afflicted us, right? They had a job to do, and they did it extremely well, as you know. Now he is saying, "I will restore to you the years." In other words, there is a process of, what shall we say, redemption, as I said earlier, but most importantly, we are going to be paid back in a way for some of our suffering if we do what is right. 27, it says, well, let me finish this. It says 25, 26. "And ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God that hath dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed." So if this is like a feast to the God of Israel, it means we have to come together as one family. He's not going to go from house to house and drop off food or send it by Uber, or what's the name of those places where you get your food by, You have to come together, recognize him, and then celebrate. That's the key right there. That's how we eat in plenty and be satisfied and praise the name of the Lord. This is the important part. "That have dealt wonderfully with you, and my people shall never be ashamed." So he's going to take away those tears. And, I think Isaiah said it, "For a moment I've hid my eyes from thee," but now I'm going to give you what I think you are worthy of. In other words, he's going to show mercy on his people. But again, he's not going to do it one at that shrine, one at this shrine. No. We come together as one family. 27, "And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I, the Lord your God, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed." So if you and us are coming together as a family, we would know this. We would appreciate it. We could give him, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the praises. 28, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions." Again, this is a family, 12 tribes working together in harmony. But we need to come together to make this happen. We need to be one family, under one roof, serving the same God, calling him by name. All of these calling him by the same name. All of these aspects, these are part and parcel of a solid, healthy body working in harmony. One, even though we are 12 tribes. This is important. 29. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord, the name of the Lord. You see what I said? Who should call upon his name shall be saved. So how are you going to call upon his name and you don't know it? You have to go back to Genesis 15 and read it and see what the God of Israel said to Moses. These are important. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance. Not all over the world, only in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem. Now, we are Jerusalem as far as I'm concerned, and we are Zion as far as I'm concerned. So in other words, we have to come together to make this our reality so that others will look to us for guidance, for leadership. As the Lord hath said, and in the remnant shall the Lord be called, or in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. So we are that remnant. And if we are not fulfilling the mandate that we were chosen to fulfill, then the word of God is not going to have the power that is necessary. But knowing that, he will replace us with somebody else because he has to do what he said he will do. That's how it works. So either you come home now or you'll be replaced with somebody else. It's as simple as that. But let us work together. Let us work together to glorify the God of Israel and let our power be seen. Yes, there are many now, I think Elder said it last week, that are causing us to stand in a corner and face the wall, to time out. We don't have to allow that to happen. We could stand strong and confident and let them, I think Zechariah said this and Isaiah said it, let them hold our tail, the tails of our garment, of our skirts, or the robes that we wear, and follow us because they know the God of Israel is with us. Let them do as we are doing because we are going to teach them. We could only do these things if we are united as one body. This is all that we are saying today. We have to come together. The time is now. Right now is the time because we are not under the master's whip anymore. You know, again, we all been there. We have the scars. You know, I know a lot of you are still carrying those tattoos and stuff like that. I don't know why, because Massa had his tattoos on us, and that was embarrassing enough for me. So I got rid of mine a long time ago, the whips and all the scars that I had. Why? Because I did not know who I was. As I said at the beginning, I was ignorant of self, and that was painful. But now, thanks to our elder, thanks to the Supreme Council and Priest Andal, that we are able to learn from each other. Because I don't know everything. I just know a smidget, a small amount. But by cooperating with my brethren, we could grow together as one family. The world is waiting, and you know, look, I say it all the time. I see what is going on in the world. And everybody wants to look like you. But the point I'm making is we have to demonstrate to them that we are worthy. We are worthy of being followed. We cannot serve two masters at the same time. We have to be part of the royal army of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. How do we qualify to be part of this army? How can you be a member of the God of Abraham's army and not know his name? You don't know his name. You don't know his laws. You don't know his statutes. You don't know what he expects and what he doesn't expect from you. Every soldier has to be trained accordingly. We must accept, look at our royal colors, for example. the purple, the red, the blue, with the gold and the white. All of this is significant for us because these are our royal colors. We look at the emblem that we have. This is the emblem of truth and freedom. We also have our national flag, obviously, and our coat of arms. All of these are important. Our elder has done the heavy lifting. He has put in place all the necessary components for us to develop as a nation and expand and invite all people to come. You don't have to look like me to come home to our Father. You know, our forefathers, traveled everywhere. They went from Jerusalem all the way to Spain, to Portugal, to Italy, to France, to Britain, right? And you know our forefathers, they see a beautiful lady or two, or maybe the beautiful lady sees them. You know, I don't know how it works. But all I'm suggesting is there have been a lot of children out there all over Europe that don't look like me. But still, they are my brothers and sisters. So if they are my part of the family, I'm saying this is not a so-called black thing. This is a family for all nations, all people to come together and serve the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. How else are you going to know the truth? How else are you going to know the laws, the statutes, and the judgments of life? We have to come together to learn how to serve the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. There's only one way and one place that could happen. You have to find a way to the Israelite nation worldwide ministries so that you could be one with us and share in that same wisdom and therefore glorify the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Again, these are just the symbols. When we are on the battlefield, we are able to identify the enemy because we alone carry this flag. We alone have these colors. You know, nobody else has the purple and red with the gold and the blue. Nobody else has that. But where did these colors come from? These colors are the colors of our tabernacle. Go all the way back to the days of Moses. So this is what I'm saying. In order to appreciate the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, we have to show him that we, first of all, are obedient. Secondly, are mindful of his tabernacle. And thirdly, that we have great respect for his word, especially his holy altar. This is not available elsewhere. We are the only ones, and I've done a lot of research, and I have never seen another nation like the Israelite nation. This is why my plea is for you to come home. My plea is for you to come home to your Father's house and to get to know his name again, regardless of what the Christians have told you. That's a lie. Regardless of what you read in the books of the Mohammedans, that's a lie for us, but it's a truth for them. It works for them, but it's not going to work for us. We are the only ones that are authorized to teach from this book. We have to know exactly what the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob require of us. We have to work together in harmony. And it is just that simple. Again, even though there are 12 tribes, there's only one Spirit. That's the point. One Spirit over the 12. And that one Spirit meshes with the Spirit from God that Moses brought, and we become then one body. Again, the Christ being the head, and we are the body of the Christ. It is just that simple. We have to know that we cannot do this on our own. And what I mean by that, you cannot be isolated. You cannot have following the Gentiles, setting up your own language, calling God by a different name, changing, as I said earlier, the Y's, the J's to a Y. Things like that. Those days are over if you were foolish enough to do that. But my point is, that is not part of the instructions. Do not follow when you can lead and be better. And it is that simple. We must be in one accord with both spiritually and physically, in order to fight against the adversary. Because the adversary has not ended his attacks on us. As a matter of fact, we have noticed an increase in attacks in some cases. But the only way that we could repel this, look, there's a situation going on in the Ukraine. And the people of the Ukraine are not fighting by themselves, even though that they're all the same with the Russians. Why? They've got help from America. They've got help from Canada. And we are paying for that. The Americans are sending trillions of dollars, the Canadians are sending billions of dollars, and the taxpayers are paying. Well, if they can do that, and they're all in the same family, why can't we come together and share the truth? Why can't we be one family and show the world that Israel is still alive and well, that we are the chosen people and there are no other? If we are fragmented, we lose our power. We lose some of our structure. Regardless, we here at the Israelite nation, we are going to make this. We are going to succeed. We are now giving you the opportunity to come and be a part of the family. But once we have decided that this is the end of it, again, we're not going to make this appeal anymore. So now is the time to come, at the beginning of the era of judgment. And this is why we're taking a look at the book of Joel. Let it be made clear then that just because our physical slavery has ended, it doesn't mean that the adversary has put away all his lies, all his deception, all his violence. That is still ongoing. Because one of the things that I've noticed is everybody wants to be the Israelite. Why? Because the Israelite is God's chosen people. The Israelite was given special talent to witness unto the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. But there's one thing to want to be, there's another thing to have the ability to be. And nobody else has it. Listen, I'm not here to criticize, but neither will I compromise our integrity. If Christianity could be Israel, Christianity with all the power, all the way from Europe to Asia to Africa to North and South America, they would do it. If Judaism could be Israel, they would be. They have all the money that they can get from all the other nations. If Islam could be Israel, they would have done it. Again, these are three people that had a hand in our enslavement. Read your history book and see. One sold us to another, and the other financed it. But my point here is not about them. The point is about us. We are the only ones who could be ourselves. We have been chosen by the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. As far as we are concerned, there is no other God. The others are just trash, right? We do not look to them with any degree of talent or respect. We let them be who they want to be. We know the adversary can appear to be what he wants to be, and he looks as if he is powerful, and he demonstrates that power, but he cannot come close to our Father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. We have a bigger expectation, and this is why we are trying to make that information available now, so that people can make a decision to be with us or to be against us. I don't care how many times you were in Christianity. I don't care what you look like. You're welcome with the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. I don't care how many times, how many years you've practiced Judaism. Wherever you are, it doesn't make any difference. You can call yourself whatever you want, but you're welcome with the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. I don't care how many times you worship in Islam, whether you worship Muhammad or Allah or whatever. The point is, you're welcome with the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Come, sit, hold hands with us, and learn about our God, the God who created the earth on which you live today. This is where we put our trust and confidence, because we know that regardless of what others can say or do, they cannot come close to what we are capable of. Let's go to the book of Joel and continue. We're going to go into chapter 3. It says, "For behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem," which is what we have gone through, just ended, 400 years, "I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." Notice, they have divided our land. Now you have Palestine on one side and the Israelis on another, right? They have done a lot of things to us as Israelites. But it's not for us to take any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Revenge. Our Father is going to deal with this. Verse 3, "And they have cast lots for my people." Note, now you can see who Israel is. "They have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink." It's called slavery, ladies and gentlemen. Slavery. That's what we're talking about here. Everybody wants to be Israel, but nobody wants to endure the 400 years of slavery that we went through. Why are we the only ones that went through that? Why everybody else then takes the name Israel and Israelite, but we are the only ones that suffer the consequences of Israel and Israelite? It makes no sense. But hey, as I said before, we live in a world that is governed by lies, vanity, deception, and violence. Here it is right here as I speak. Verse 4, "Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coast of Palestine?" Who is Tyre and who is Sidon? These are Canaanites. They're called Phoenicians in modern day language, right? These are the people that settled in what is termed today Greece. You've heard of Cadmus, who was a Canaanite, who was a Phoenician. He took the alphabet from Canaan to Greece. And I remember they used to write from right to left, and when we got to Greece, they changed from left to right. And we've been writing from left to right ever since. Now, I don't know if they did that deliberately to hide certain things from the Greeks, or whether the Greeks could not understand and they had to flip it. I don't know. You do your own research. It says, "Yea," verse 4, "and what have we to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense?" So God is saying, what are you going to do with me? Are you going to give me some kind of recompense? You're gonna pay a restitution? You know? "And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head." So basically, you cannot pay for the damage that you have done. You can't. So the judge is going to have to decide. You can't come and say, "Well, sorry, I'm going to give you some form of restitution to pay for what we've done to your children." No. The judge will decide. You cannot be the criminal and the judge at the same time. The judge will decide if you are the criminal and what your penalty will be. 5, "Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly, pleasant things, the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians." Wow, there it is. "That ye might remove them far from their borders." Slavery. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem, Israelites. This is Israel being enslaved by the Grecians, or the descendants of the Grecians. And the descendants of the Grecians would be the Romans, would be the Christians, and so on. All the different tribes, because they're all the same. They just have different names, right? And they all have had a hand in our enslavement. They've all benefited from our enslavement. So what are they going to pay now? Are they going to pay some form of restitution for this? But the God of Israel will decide. And he says, "Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. So you cannot do it the way you want to do it. It is only the God of Israel's choice. He is the one to decide how this game is going to end, if you will. He's going to decide the outcome of the judgment. It's important because if you look around, there's a lot going on today, and it is necessary that we understand what's happening. From what I could see, I see, for instance, across the border right now, as we speak, they're counting or measuring their snow by feet. Some places are 5 feet of snow. And we are just an hour away. And our snow is only in inches, if it's there at all. And we are further north. You would think we'd have more. But we only have a dusting. But yet they have feet, 5 feet across the border. We understand from the Mississippi River, it's drying up. And a lot of people use that river to transport merchandise. Now the ship could only go so far because the water is being dried up. And also there are other places in Arizona and Nevada, rivers that are drying up. People used to fish from the river, like right here. Now they got to walk 15 minutes to fish because the water is drying up. I'm not saying this to boast or to gloat. I'm telling you that there is something happening. Why is it that the plague that they call COVID-19 occurred just after the end of our 400 years of slavery? And our 400 years did not end on December 31st. It ended in March and April, the spring, and the COVID started around that same time. So these are things that you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen. These are things that, again, all we could do is tell you what the scriptures say. But it's up to you to look and see what's happening in your neighborhood and to see that you are being affected by the same scriptures. Now, for our people who are still on the plantation of Christianity, it is time to run, to get out of there. You don't have to go through the Underground Railroad anymore. You could just walk away from it and set yourself free because the freedom is available to you now. You don't have to worship Jesus anymore. You don't have to carry that cross anymore. You don't have to pray to Jesus on all the things that you do. Those things are foolishness. Those things are stupidity. Walk away from the ignorance that you have been misled. If you are a pastor, a Christian pastor, I know it's going to be a little bit shameful, but do it anyway, because you'll get over that over time. You'll get better. You'll get stronger. You'll be able to tell the truth. Right now, you're just a liar. And you're getting paid because you are a liar. But you can change that and get blessed because you tell the truth. Let's continue. Verse 8. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabeans, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it. I'll leave that one alone because these are things that are yet to happen. Verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And this is why we are here and reaching out to you to come over on our side, because you're going to have to choose sides. There is going to be a battleground, and you could choose to be for the adversary, or you can choose to be for the Israelite. To serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you have to get to know his people. That's whom we are. We are the Israelite nation. We are here to serve the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. We understand what the scriptures are saying. Verse 10 says, beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourself and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be weakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For they will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So you've had your 400 years. This is to the heathen. You've had your success, or what you call success. Now your judgment is at hand. So There is still hope for you. This is why we are bringing this out now. This is an opportunity to unite and stand, or be separate and fall. It is up to you. The choice is yours. And you can't say to the judge, I didn't know, because we are telling you, now you have a choice. You could go back to that shrine tomorrow and deal with the cross, deal with the KKK and all the others, the Proud Boys, whatever they want to call themselves. But the key is, if you want the truth, you've got to be here with the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. If you want the protection of our Father, you've got to know the name of God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. You can't have it both ways. There's only one altar. There's only one church. There's only one body of Christ, and that's right here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. This is where the truth is magnified. If you want the lie, stay where you are. If you want the lie and riches, stay even more. But if you want the truth and the blessings of the truth, then you come with us. And let us share the word of God and hold hands and glorify our Father. And we will see how this will unfold over time. Remember, we are just beginning as far as this judgment is concerned. We're just beginning as far as our freedom is concerned. But the world doesn't know this because the world was enslaved and they didn't know. They thought they were free and we were the slaves. Yes, we were the slaves, and we admitted that we were slaves. But they did not know. In order to enslave me, you have to enslave yourself first. That's what you didn't know. Think about it. In order to disrespect me, you've got to disrespect yourself first. That's what you don't know. It is just as simple as that. And you may think that you're walking high, but you're not. Well, maybe you are high. I don't know what you've been smoking. But we don't do that because we are humbling. We humble ourselves before our Father and let Him be the one to be in heaven, because we can't go there. As much as your pastor may tell you go to heaven and take your dog with you, that's another lie. It's not going to happen. It will never happen. As much as they say they're going to the moon or the rocket, that's another lie. They've never been, and then they'll never go. There's a certain height that you can go. After that, you're back to earth again. But you can't go where you're not permitted to go. And it is as simple as that. And a lie repeated over enough does not become the truth. It becomes a bigger lie, and it stinks. Get used to it. It stinks. So if you want to be a stinking liar, then keep repeating it over and over. But if you want to be a humble and strong and confident member of the Truth Society, be a member of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Verse 13 says, "Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come and get you down, for the press is full. The vats overflow, for their wickedness is great." You see what I'm saying? The world is governed by lies, by vanity, by deception, by violence. We are leaders. We do not follow that. We lead with truth first. And our ambition, our desire, our goal is peace. From truth, there is freedom. And freedom gives us the confidence to serve our God. That's what it's all about. And to do so quietly. We are not standing on street corners yelling at people, calling them names. No, we've got better things to do. And even if people try to approach us, I had a gentleman approach me a couple of weeks ago, and he gave me a flyer, or he tried to anyway. And I said, "What's that?" He said, "Oh yeah, I'm just teaching about Christ." Now, right away, I knew what I was dealing with. I knew I was dealing with a demon. It looked like a man, but I knew it was a demon. And I looked him straight in the eye, and I said to him very firmly, "Are you qualified to do that?" And he said to me, "Well, yeah, I've been doing this for about 20 years. And I said, "Oh, really? 20 years, huh?" He says, "Yeah, I've been trying to teach people about God." I looked him in the eye again. I said, "Which God?" "I don't know," he said. I said, "Sir, you are suffering from a severe mental problem. You need to seek help, and you need to do so quickly. I said, I'll be happy to give you some guidance if you're interested. And I walked. I don't know who he was, whether he was Nigerian or whatever he was, but I just left it there to see all the foolishness that people are going to come up with. Have no clue what they're talking about, but yet they're talking. And they think that because they put on a jacket and a tie, and that they have, by some means, some magical means, they have wisdom. No, you just demonstrate to me that you're even more stupid than if you had never said anything. If you just said hello or good morning, I'd say, okay, hi, how you doing? And that was it. But I understand this, but the average person does not understand it. So I will not engage with the people that are ignorant, right? I will not get upset. I will not even make any disparatory comments about people that are ignorant. When I see what they're doing, and I know what they have done throughout history, I leave them alone. I don't have to say anything. Why? Because they're doing it for themselves. They're telling you, whether you understand it or not, that they're dumb, that they're stupid, that they have no clue what they're talking about. And the biggest problem of all, the most disgusting thing, is that they're using my book and talking about my family. If they had written their own book about their family, then I would not have a problem with that. I don't know what people do in their homes. I don't know what they have for breakfast. I don't know what they have for lunch or dinner. So I can't talk about their families. I stay within the confines of the Holy Bible that were written by, these Holy Scriptures were written by Israelites, for Israelites, about Israelites. And they were translated in 1611 officially translated, I should say, into the English language for the entire world. Before, it was just a private, personal matter. Now it's a worldwide matter. It's still private and personal because we're the only ones allowed to teach from it. But now everyone has access to it. That's the point where it is made public. So from what we have read so far in the book of Joel, there's a lot to come. And it's not going to be nice, as they say today. There's a lot yet from humanity to avail himself of if he's been trained and on the right path. And this is why we are here. We are the body of Christ, as I said earlier, and thereby we offer unity and harmony. We work together as one body to achieve the goal of the Holy Spirit, who is our head. Each individual uses his God-given gift, his God and her God-given talent for our national goal, to achieve that national goal. And we don't use it for selfish reasons. We don't use it because we want to be strong or powerful at the expense of others. There is no room for betrayal. We don't stab each other in the back. Instead, we serve each other using the skills that we have that were given to us by our God. We try to produce an atmosphere of perfect harmony, like a jazz orchestra, for example. Hence, our freedom of expression is our confidence. We display our faith and trust in the wisdom of our God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Even in the face of adversity, we do these things, because it is not given to all people to serve in the king's court. And the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob is our king. He is the King of all kings. We are his royal assembly. We are glorifying him on a daily basis because this is our role. This is our purpose in life. We are happy to do this, to give our God the praises that are due to his name. We are not intimidated by the foolishness of other people. And, coming up next after me is Elder Randall. He is the CEC of the Supreme Council. He's going to take this to a much higher level. I'm just giving an entree. This is a sampling but he has the main course, and he is going to bring to you the wisdom that only a few could ever appreciate. And what I mean by that is, If you don't have the ears to hear, you're not going to hear what he's saying. But it is important that you try because it is going to benefit all of us in the long run. And with that, I thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. May the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob bless you real good. Peace.
Hello. I hope you are enjoying our program so far. We are so thrilled you have decided to join us for today's event. If this is your first time, go ahead and hit that subscription button, and don't forget to click the notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all of our upcoming videos. Also, please like, comment, and share our videos. We truly appreciate it. We are so passionate about sharing our Israelite culture, and we welcome your generosity in helping us to reach more people. So please feel free to leave us donations. If you are thinking about joining us and would like to learn more, fill out the form in the description below, and one of our team members from the Welcome Committee will be in contact with you shortly. I thank you for your time and look forward to seeing you soon. And with that, I bid you peace, love, truth, prosperity, and power.
Thank you so much, Elder Michael. Truly appreciate everything that you have said and everything that you continue to do. As we talk about united we stand and divided we definitely shall fall. You know, when I was early in my career, I remember someone had asked me a question, and they said to me, "What are you worth?" So what do you mean, what am I worth? They said, if you had to break out your time based on an hourly amount, what are you worth? And I'll be honest with you, when I heard that question, I did not know how to respond. But it got me thinking at that time, what am I truly worth? What is my worth? Is it $5 an hour? Is it $1,000 an hour? But even in my early career, when that person said those words to me, it made me start to think from that moment on how I negotiate, how I appreciate what I do, and what I should be worth in anything that I do. It helped create what they call that North Star on my compass in everything I did throughout my career, decisions that I made, because I had a value of my self-worth. I'll say it to you too that are listening. Think about what you are worth. Because if our 12 tribes honestly started to think about who we are as a people, the chosen people of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and what we are truly worth, things would be a lot different. Things would be a whole lot different. You talk about our impact and our worth to places like the NBA, the NFL. You talk about our worth in terms of the music industry. You know, the NBA last season was about $10 billion it brought in. 10 billion is the impact of the children of Jacob. The children of Jacob in terms of revenue churning. 10 billion NBA. We talk about the NFL last season, they hit a record of 17 billion off of the gifts of the children of Jacob. And not to even go further than that, we as a collective spend about $1.2 trillion a year making brands and sneaker brands and fashion brands prosperous. We do that. The music industry, top genre, just so we understand about the value of who we are. The top genre is not country music. Maybe that's a shock to some of you. It's not country music. It's not rock music. It's R&B and hip hop. Top genre. And the global streaming revenues, because a lot of us don't go and buy vinyl anymore. I don't know if some of you buy CDs. I don't know if some of you go out and you download music. I personally haven't downloaded music in a long, long time. Streaming revenues were $27 billion US. 27 billion, that's with the B, US, off of the talent and the backs of the children of Jacob. And once again, I'm telling you, if you're looking at the top genre, it is not country music. It is R&B and hip hop. The children of Jacob are making others mass fortunes. You know, the sneaker industry, people these days, they wear sneakers with probably everything. There's a trend, you wear sneakers with your business suits now. Do you know who made sneakers part of the everyday fashion? You know who popularized it and made it a phenomenon? We're talking about the children of Jacob. The sneaker industry annually is $70 billion. $70 billion. And then when you look at the sneaker shops, those who actually own sneaker shops, it's less than 5% of the children of Jacob that own sneaker shops. You're talking about the industries, you're talking about health, or you're talking about fragrances and hair products. We as a collective spend more than 50% of other nations on those specific industries. Why am I saying this to you? Because if we talk about united we stand and divided we fall. Our elder Shadrach put a plea out last week. But in that plea, he also said that we've got to get around and get away from when they can tell us to go into the corner for a timeout, keep our face there, and do what they say until they're ready to remove us from that corner. If our people truly thought about being united and we took out our talents and our gifts from the NBA, NFL, music industries, and spending $1.2 trillion on other people's product, that would put our people in a position of strength where we could now negotiate the terms of the agreement. But sadly, I must say that this does not happen with our people. We are told to go to a corner, but when did this all begin? I have a nice letter that I found that I want to read to some of you, and I hope you like stories. I don't know if it may not be a bedtime story, but I have a letter I want to read to you. And here is this letter. I'm going to take my time with this. It says, gentlemen, you know what your problems are. And some of you are going to know what this letter is about, but I think it's perfect time for me to read this letter to you. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problems. I'm here to introduce you to a method of solving them. So here comes the solution, all right? Listen carefully. In my bag here, the letter says, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. Foolproof method. You ready? I've got a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee, the letter says, every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. Not a letter that we wrote or made up, but I'm going to keep reading this letter to you so you understand where we're going with this. The letter continues to say, my method is simple. Any members of your family or your overseers can use it. It says, I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and I make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. I'm going to pause. Do you see that among our community? Our elder says he learned from his president that if 5 black people come together, it's going to be mashed up. I'm paraphrasing, but mashed up. Why? Because there's a distrust. Everyone wants to be chief. There's envy. Why? Why did this happen to our people? The letter continues, these methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take the simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of the list is age. But it's there only because it starts with A. So in alphabetical order, I'm going to go through. The second is color or shade. There's intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantation, status on plantations, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley or in a hill, east, west, north, south, if they have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust, the letter says, is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slaves are receiving this indoctrination shall carry on and will become self-refueling. So as we indoctrinate them on this bag of tricks, it says that the black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling. We don't have to do anything. They'll be self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black males versus the young black male. The young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves. And the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use female versus the male versus the female. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. It's a must for this to work effectively. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. I'm going to read that. This is the letter. This is the blueprint. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, the letter goes on to say, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children. Use them. Never miss an opportunity. If use Willie Lynch, The Making of a Slave, Virginia, USA, 1712, intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. So the letter says, and it concludes with, thank you, gentlemen. Let's make a slave. I'm going to pause there for impact and have you guys think about this. And by the way, you can find this book on many online outlets for sale. Since it came out, you've never seen my people lined up in petitions and rallies to remove it from online sources. You've never heard my people together as a unit talk about not only this letter on how to make a slave, but all the documentaries, films, movies, and articles and books that are out there about my people in a negative way to perpetuate what's written here. You've never seen us lined up or come together as a unit demanding that these things should be removed. I needed to think about that when we talk about united we stand and divided we fall. I want to talk to you about our roots. This may get a little dicey, but I am here, like my brother Elder Michael, was here to just speak the truth. We're talking historical and biblical truths. Things that we haven't made up, and I've always told you this, I come to you with no new thing. These things our elder Shadrach have laid down. He's laid it down. All we're doing is continuing with the torch. But I do agree with him that sometimes you have to be able to speak truth. Not in a disrespectful way. We don't disrespect any nation, but we need to call out the facts and the evidence as the scriptures provide us, just like our forefathers, the prophets, did. So, where are your roots? Where are my roots and your roots? Genesis chapter 10, verse 1 says, "Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah." Number 1, Shem. S-H-E-M. Next one is Ham. And the next one is Japheth. Shem, Ham, Japheth. Our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for those of you who are listening and trying to really understand where you come from, you don't need Ancestry DNA or 23andme.com to take some DNA swabs to try to find out who you are. The Bible has given us our DNA a long, long time ago. You and I come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob come out of the line of Shem. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob come out of the line of, say it with me in the chat room, Shem. You know, when the land of Ham thought about building their empire for greed by capturing my people, that was anti-Shemitic. When the Gentiles thought about buying us to make their empire prosperous on the backs of my people, that was anti-Shemitic. When I was in the ship and didn't want to eat whatever they were going to do, but they took a tool and they bust my teeth so they can feed me with a syringe, that was anti-Shemitic. When they took their branding tool that they used on pigs and on cows and cattle, and they took my forefathers and they branded us, that was an act of being anti-Shemitic. When they called us niggers, coons, that was an act of anti-Shemitic. When they put drugs in our, well, let me go back. When they put us in the poorest parts of the cities, no access to jobs, and then they dropped off the drugs right at our footstep and guns, and allowed us to sell it in our own community and kill our own to finance their wars and their covert operations, that was anti-Shemitic. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob came from Shem, and we are the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You need to know your history, your roots. Elder Michael said he knew more about European history than his own. He knew more about European history than his own. Embrace your truth. You are from the line of Shem. You hail from an unbroken bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who was surnamed Israel. That's who you are. They had put out a movie recently called The Little Mermaid. Some of you probably like The Little Mermaids. But they had put out a movie called The Little Mermaid. But what Hollywood did was put a black actress as the main role. They also did Achilles. You know Achilles in mythology, he was known as one of the greatest Greek warriors. And one of the latest series, they made Achilles black. Social media did not stop. I think it was 2-3 million dislikes, 2-3 million comments, racial comments. How could they do this? It's not historically correct. Little Mermaid should be white. Troy, Achilles should be white. These are people who are white. Why are we blackwashing them? It is not authentic. It's not true to history. And I agree with you. You may not like what I'm saying. I agree with you. I don't think we should be blackwashing things because we check the diversity box. Keep it true. I agree with you on that. But I never saw 2 million dislikes and petitions when you painted Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Moses, David, Samuel, and all the prophets white, blonde hair and blue eyes. That was not historically correct, nor was it authentic. But my people are not unified to say that should not be. But we do a Little Mermaid as a black actress, and the whole world goes upside down because it's not right. But every single one of our older generation, as our elder used to say, over their fireplace, has Jesus the Christ painted with white skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. Although it is not historically accurate and it's not authentic, we never came together as a people and say, pull it down. But Little Mermaid, a black actress, the whole world went upside down. This is what we talk about: united we stand, and divided we will definitely fall. Knowledge of self gives us the basis by which we can do these things and come out on top. And we're not looking to rule nations. We're not looking to enslave people. We're not looking to act with violence against anyone. We're just looking to come back to knowledge of self and serve the God of Israel. And let us be in peace. But then why is the world going upside down? Because my people are now searching for knowledge. Why is the world so angry? Because my people are starting to go online on Google and say, who are the true Israelites? Enter. It's trending. We talked about this, myself, Elder Jeffrey, and the guys. Last night, we spent an hour hanging out online, and we talked about this. We looked at trends on Google, and people are searching, Israelite books. Who are the true children of Israel? Who are the true black Jews? It is happening. Our people are trying to see if there's any validity in the things that they're hearing now in the media about themselves. Why is that so wrong? Why is that so bad? So then, in thinking of what scripture I should read, Exodus chapter 1 came to mind. Exodus chapter 1 came to mind because long ago, when I came to this awesome nation, there was a book, The Spirit of Egypt in America. And it was very well illustrated how old Egypt and America had similarities. But today, when I think about what's happening and why are people so upset with someone like me just trying to figure out what my roots, my identity, I'm just trying to figure out who I am. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not threatening the world with anything, because that's not our people. Our people, we're a peaceful people. We kill our own. That's the problem. We kill our own. But to other nations, we are a peaceful people. That's our nature. And that's not going to change. Exodus chapter 1 says, and I want you to listen. Now, these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. So who am I speaking to? I'm speaking to you, the house of Israel, our people. All I'm trying to do is edify. Edify. Bring light to where there's darkness. That's all we're trying to do. It's to edify our own people by stretching out our hand and lifting you up. I am speaking to the 12 tribes of my people. I'm speaking to the house of Israel, my people. And those of you who are there in the audience, sitting, watching this, understand that's where we're coming from. It's been a long, long time since all we have had was the indoctrination of how we should be against the old male, against the young male, female of my people against the male of my people. If I had straight hair, I would be against the one who had kinky hair. If I was in the field, I would have something against the guy who's on the hill. If I worked in the Hamas's house, then I was superior to you. That was programmed into us. But much more, they put overseers. And the overseers, you and I, when we were little and walking around on the plantations, all we did was dream to be like the overseers, because the overseers had power. They rode on horses. They would beat you and break you. I want to be like the overseers. I don't want to be like my uncle who I see tied up to a pole getting hog whipped. I don't want to be that. I want to be this, the one on the horse who's whipping my uncle. They broke us. We don't trust each other. We trust the nations more than we trust our own. We go against each other. Elder called for unity last week. He called for unity. He says, forget about our doctrine differences, to the house of Israel I'm talking to. Forget about our doctrine differences. Probably will be there forever because the Pharisees, scribes, and Sadducees argued all through life. But at least let's band under the umbrella of being Israelites. At the very least, let's plan together. Let's think together. Let's stand up for each other. But with that to take place, I must say this. We need to be a little bit more polished, my community. And I'm saying this openly. We need to be a little bit more polished because it makes our job a little harder if we're calling people's names on street corners. If we're cussing people and calling them names, it does make it more difficult for them to take us seriously. So come on, right? Let's clean it up and let's get together. And Elder says, the table is here. There's some chairs for you. You're more than welcome to sit down and let's have this discourse. Now, these are the names of the children of Israel that came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. The 12 tribes came into Egypt together. Unity. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of our father Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And we heard last night when the scripture was read that Pharaoh, the old Pharaoh, said to Joseph, your brethren are here. Your brethren are here. Do me a favor, look throughout all the land of Egypt and pick the best of the land to put your people. And I said to Elder Jeffrey and them last night when we were hanging out for about an hour, I said, it shows you when you build a profile and you talk about that Pharaoh must have known that the God that Joseph served is the true and the living God, and he had respect unto that God, the God of Israel. He did. He must have known that whatever Joseph had and was doing was the right thing, even though he was an Egyptian, meaning the Pharaoh. He must have. And scripture says that Jacob came into the room and blessed Pharaoh. You think Pharaoh took that as a small thing? Pharaoh knew. That Pharaoh knew. Now it came a time when Joseph died and all that generation died, and here's what's happening. And the children of Israel in verse 7 were fruitful and increased abundantly. Because why? We came in as the 12 tribes. We were united. We know who we were. We knew who our God was. So what happened? We became fruitful, and we increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. But we didn't trouble anyone. Didn't say that we caused war. Didn't say anything like that. We were together. But what is the issue? Why is everyone so mad these days in 2022? In recent times, everyone's mad and going crazy. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, meaning the Egyptians, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Now we are not more than them currently, but they know within us there's something mightier than them if we should reconnect to our true identity and our God. It is a fear. Like old Egypt, the spirit of old Egypt is now working in this new Egypt. Same spirit. Verse 10 says, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, lest they unite, lest they come to knowledge of self, lest they return back to their God, lest they build their own economies, lest they stop giving their gifts, their sweat, and their blood to our industry, and we take everything and profit from them, because our industry and our old money would dry up. We got to lock them in NDAs and contracts. We got to lawyer up and scare them every time they want to break a contract. We take everything from them, because the minute they get together and build their own Hollywood and build their own music distribution, our well of prosperity will dry up. The minute they start building their own sneaker brands and their own clothing line and their own jewelry line, our old wealth and money starts to dry up. It is unacceptable. We cannot let them multiply. We cannot. Come on, let us deal wisely with them. So like the Willie Lynch letter, deal wisely. Let's set a structure in place that will last not just for hundreds, but thousands of years, and keep us being slaves for thousands of years. May not be shackles and chains on you, but wow, that indoctrination makes me not like Lewis, because Lewis is taller than I am. It makes Lewis not like me, because I wear a suit and he wears hoodies. We get these different things. Abby don't like me because I am dark, and she feels more superior than me because she has hair and she's brown skin. You think it's a joke, but when I was growing up as a teen, that's exactly how we judged things. And the darkest amongst us wanted to bleach their skin because they wanted to feel like they fit in. And then there was a time, probably in Elder's generation, that all the men were straight hot ironing their hair. So nice and straight here. And poor Michael Jackson got caught up in this. Poor Michael Jackson. And someone said yesterday that Michael Jackson, they heard in his transformation, turned out to look like a Chinese lady at the end of everything. I said, how'd you get a Chinese lady in that? But apparently they say he looked like a Chinese lady at his later days. We all got caught up in this. Even till this very day, those biases live in us. We may say it's not so, but even till this very day, we look down on each other based on the same things that was in that toolbox to separate us. But that toolbox wasn't new. When old Pharaoh says, let us deal wisely with them, it was from that very moment that institution of breaking up the children of Israel so we would be divided started to take place. Come on, let's deal wisely with them, verse 10 says, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore did they set over them taskmasters. Overseers was what Willie Lynch says. We got to get our children and our wives to have the same doctrine and set taskmasters and overseers, because when you see the image now of an Egyptian over you, from a psychological state of a man, you're going to feel that this person is naturally superior naturally better. This is who you want to aspire to be. Your little son is going to see you getting whipped, punched, and beaten. He's going to get broken psychologically because dad is his hero, and dad is an honorable man. My dad is like a shepherd king, but now I'm seeing my dad getting beaten, whipped, and dragged through the sand. That does something to the kid. It's the same thing that happens in the jailhouses right now. When you have visiting hours and you bring your little girl, your little boy in to see you in your orange jumpsuit, you may think it's a good thing, but they're seeing dad, their hero, in an orange jumpsuit in a cage. It does something to the little person. It breaks them. It breaks them. They know why they do what they do, is my point. It's to break us. United we stand. Everyone knows this except us. We're living out the role of the divided right now. We are living through the times of the divided because of the old Egypt. Spirit of old Egypt now lives in new Egypt. And the same system that was used is being replicated and driven through my people. But we're not afraid to have these conversations. We're not afraid to reach out to our people and say it's time. It is time to learn who you are. You are an Israelite. It is not just discussions that are going by that maybe it's a theory, it's some hypothesis, it's some fable. Yes, you're hearing it in the media. People are slipping out and saying we are Hebrews or we are Israelites or we are black Jews. They don't understand how to really connect it completely. But you're starting to hear these terms. In the late 80s, our elders been talking about we are the forgotten Israelites. He published The Truth, the Lie, and the Bible. He said all these things. I don't understand why. I have no idea why you as a people did not hear it back then. And now you quote things and you make things up and you run with other doctrines. But back in the late 80s when I heard the forgotten Israelites, I get a lot of people sending me clips and videos about, it's usually someone who's white that says, oh, I think the people who came over are part of the lost tribes, and everyone goes crazy. Oh my God, listen to what he just said, oh my God. And I get annoyed. I do get annoyed because it's past. That's past. It's old news. I got this when I first came to the nation at 21. Elders been saying this for years. Why now in 2022 when you've heard this for so many years? Because someone of a different color, this is where I'm going, because someone of a different color says, hey, I think personally that the people who came here in the slave ships are Hebrews. Oh my God, share this with your friends, share this with your family. Did you hear this? This is not revelation, ladies and gentlemen. This is not revelation. We have been saying this for years. The world is now catching up. Let's don't do that. Let's don't get all excited because someone of a different nation starts to try to connect the dots loosely, by the way, and say that we are the children of Israel or Hebrews or whatever the case is. I'm proud to say since I was 21, I came upon The Truth, the Lie, and the Bible and the Forgotten Israelites. And for those of you who are asking, well, what is that? Go to ICB, the bookstore. ICB, because again, we talked last night, Jeffrey, myself, and the guys talked last night. There's a lot of people now searching and asking, where could I get books on this subject matter? Believe it or not, they're asking, where can I get books on this subject matter? Everyone's talking Israel, Jews, Hebrews. Where could I get books on this subject matter? Go to the ICB bookstore and look for The Forgotten Israelites. I highly recommend it because you hear me up here today. I owe a lot to coming in contact with that book, written by Elder Shadrach. The Truth, the Lie, and the Bible. You see me up here today. I owe a lot of what I know now due to having that book when I was in high school. written by Elder Shadrach. Go and get those. Read it. Go now and get them. Read it. And not only that, I give you guys a challenge because I see a lot of stuff going around on social media. And you're always asking, Priest Sandal, what could I do to get this doctrine out? What could I do to help the council, the nation? Go to ICME and take a screenshot. Or maybe ICME can send some instructions on how you can go there and click share. And if you share the book on your social profile, because people are asking, where could we get more information about this subject matter that we're now hearing in the news every day? Share on your social media platform those 2 books and say, hey, if you're actually interested in learning about your roots, and you can say Hebrew in there because that's what they're resonating with. So be like Paul, talk in their own language. You want to know your Hebrew roots or your Israelite roots or your black Jewish roots? Look to the truth, the lion, the Bible, and the forgotten Israelites. I'll clear it up for them anyhow. I'll clear up all the miscommunication and understanding. But that's my challenge to you. Get it out there because people are actually searching right now. Right now they are. Therefore did they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Python and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more the Egyptians afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. You know, I said this. I said, our people killed our own prophets. You killed one prophet, the God of Israel rose another one up. You can never completely snuff it and take it away. You killed a second prophet, he raised another one up. You killed a third, he raised the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh. Then he had the sons of the prophets, the children of the prophets. And then from generation to generation, even till this very day, we have our elder Shadrach. He never completely blanks out. So you may shut someone down right now because they're talking about our people should know their history or their roots. But there'll be another one, and 2 more, and then 3 more, and then 10 more, and 15 more that are going to be keeping this going because it is after the 400 years, ladies and gentlemen. It is about 2 or 3 years post the 400 years. Why are you so surprised that the awakening of the people is happening? Why are we so surprised that the shaking of the foundations of this world is happening? Why are we so surprised when we look at inflation and recession and all these things, and financial markets are crashing, cryptocurrencies are being wiped out, stock is being wiped out, jobs are being laid off? Why are we so surprised? Have you not read and have you not understood what has been said here in this Israelite nation for almost 40 years? Why do you resist the Holy Ghost, Scripture says? Why do you resist it? Why do you resist it? Been taught for about almost 40 years, blowing that trumpet in a language that you could understand. We did not come in a language that you can't understand, because if you don't understand or discern the sound of a trumpet, how would you know when to march or when to stay orderly if you can't discern the sound of the trumpet? It's confusion. So we came to you in the language that you know today. We did not instruct you to go learn a different language. That complicates what we do. But we spoke to you in plain English, in the language that the God of Israel has allowed us to learn, all of us. And we told you plainly that in 1619, the first slave ship came in to Fort Monroe, Virginia. And thus began the prophecy of Genesis 15, that Abraham's children would be in a strange land, and they would serve strangers for 400 years. And thus it also validated the scripture of Deuteronomy 28:68. That in the belly of ships shall you go into Egypt. And we know we walked from Egypt, crossed over the Red Sea. We went through Jordan. You know, we walked. You can see that chart. We walked. Didn't need a ship. We told you all of these things for years. I'm happy and proud, ladies and gentlemen, that the world is coming around. I'm happy that my people, I truly am excited to see what the future would bring for my people if they should come into knowledge of self. But let's not be, and let's not relive what we call the Game of Thrones. A lot of you know Game of Thrones is a very, very popular TV series. Probably one of the most popular TV series ever created. But the Game of Thrones means that everyone is vying to be king. And everyone's trying to kill one to get power and sit on the Iron Throne. Our people have been like that. Poor my father David with his son Absalom. And Absalom had thoughts about, I want to be king. And Absalom sat in the gate, so everyone that came into the gate of the children of Israel would see him there and they would ask him for counsel. And so he decided to win the hearts of the children of Israel. And then he thought about, listen, it's now time to take this to stage 2. I need to kill my dad. You're going to kill your dad, King David? Why? Because I want to sit on the throne. Our father David heard Absalom amass himself with people on horses and a great multitude. And David says, well, we're going to leave here. We're all going to leave and walk away. And people were thinking, well, this is David. He is a man of valor, a mighty warrior. Why is he running from his own son? And David left, and all the people followed him. And they wept crying. And they stayed with David. Story ends pretty bad. It ends bad, and it ends sad too, to be honest, because it wasn't the first and it wasn't the last of our people vying for power and trying to sit on the throne. Absalom died. He died because as he was in pursuit, and the God of Israel was with David, as you all know, Absalom, as he was riding his hair, got caught in a tree, and he dangled between the earth. And David had said, I get Absalom is doing what he's doing, but hurt not my son. Don't hurt him. And all the people in the audience of David heard that. Don't hurt my son. Right? Don't hurt him. And when it was told to Joab, behold, Absalom is hanging with his hair in the branch. Joab says, so why are you telling me this? What, is he still alive? I'm paraphrasing. Is he still alive? What? And the soldier says, no, he's alive, but I'm not going to touch him because you heard the king say, let no one hurt Absalom. You heard it. We all heard it. Joab went, he took his bow and arrow, and 1, 2, 3 in the heart. And then he told someone to grab a sword and slayed Absalom. And then they dug a deep, deep hole. And they threw Absalom in that pit and covered him with many stones, the scripture says. And then 2 errand boys. One was given the right things to say to the king. Go and tell King David that his enemies are destroyed, that Absalom is dead. The other one heard say that he was running to the king. He says, I'm going to go to and tell the king news. He says, but you don't even know the details. You don't even know the details. Why are you running? Why? Go. He overtook the guy who had the details, and king said, who's that? He says, looks like the manner of someone who he knows that runs fast. He came and says, so what's the news you got? He said, I don't know. There was a lot of commotion. I have no idea. I just know there's a lot of commotion. A lot of commotion. David was, okay, all right, all right. Then the next guy comes up and says, oh, king, live forever. Your enemies are like this day as your son Absalom is. They're gone. And David wept. And the people got really uncomfortable because David wept. It wasn't a day, they thought it was a day of rejoicing. But to David, it was a day of mourning. You know, I remember this lesson. I'm not going to deal with the lesson. There's a lesson that I remember being a little kid, 21 years old, maybe 22. An elder did this scripture when he was showing the God of Israel and his relationship with Lucifer at that time, and why sometimes that relationship still exists today, and how David, even though he was being betrayed by his own son, still had a heart for his son. And you know, these are gems that I remember having as a young boy, Elder Michael, as a young boy. And I owe everything to that. I tell you guys this all the time. I owe everything to my teachings. And, you know, I'm just hoping that some of you would gravitate to the same teachings and make your life something special and come back to who we're supposed to be and unify. Unify. We've been divided for far too long. And the Egyptians, verse 13 says, and the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. You've got to break them. You've got to break them not just physically. You've got to break them mentally, and you've got to break them spiritually. God forbid they should tap back into what they have. God forbid. So that's why you see everyone panicking to this very day. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, stage 2. Here we go, stage 2. Which the name of one was Saphra, and the name of the other Pua. And he said, when you guys do the service of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stool, so when they're giving birth, when in the process of giving birth, if it be a son, an Israelite boy, then you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, shall live. You know, so many stats and documentaries are saying our men are an endangered species today. There's so many documentaries and so many articles and so many professors and people who have been saying our black men are an endangered species. Everything seems to be pointed against them. Why is that? Old Pharaoh says, look at the midwives. Let's talk to the midwives, the Hebrew midwives. And if you see one of the Israelite women upon the stool ready to give birth, if it be a boy, if it be an Israelite boy, it doesn't say punish him. It doesn't say ship him to a different country or a village. It says kill him. That's anti-Shemitic behavior. That is anti-Shemitic behavior of 4,000 years ago, or whatever the case is. Our people have always been targeted, but especially the males. It's nothing new. Old Egypt, spirit lifted up, came over to New Egypt. The same actions you see, the same institutional doctrine that keeps us divided. We trust those who we have served for 400 years, who has made us to serve in rigor, more than we trust our own mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters, uncles and aunties and friends. Isn't that sad? No other nation is like that. I got a little under 10 minutes to hang out with you guys. just a little under 10 minutes. Here's what I want to say. I think I'll finish Exodus chapter 1. I've been playing with Exodus chapter 1 now for about 45 minutes. 16 says, and he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, an Israelite boy, you shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, she shall live. But the midwives feared God. We should say thank God for that, right? We should all say thank God for that, because we are preserved this day because of some of the things that they did. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded, but saved the men, children alive. And the king of Egypt called the midwives and said unto them, why have you done this thing and have saved the men, children alive? Why have you saved the Israelite boys? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like Egyptians. I want you to follow me here for 1 second. The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptians. There is a separation, right? Everyone nodded. There's a separation. Although we all had black skin, the wisdom of the midwives told you that the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptians. Why? What did they say? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptians women, for they are lively. I'm going to use that word right now for the next minute. They are, say it with me in the chat room, they are lively. You know, when you look at the world and you put the children of Jacob somewhere, you see the natural spirit coming out. We do backflips and splits on stage. We play the bass, we play the drums. You see us sail in the air over everyone and slam that basketball in the net. You see us do all these things naturally in music and in arts and everywhere because we are lively. We have an impact across all cultures because we are lively. No other people are like the children of Israel in terms of being lively. And if I even use carnival as an example, you guys know what I'm talking about. We are a lively people. So the Hebrew midwives did not lie. The Hebrew women are different than the Egyptian women because they are lively. It's not a lie. Our women are different than the other nations' women. They are. Our men are different than the other nations' men. They are. It is what it is, guys. They are lively and delivered ere the midwives come into them. Therefore, God dealt with the midwives well, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. No matter what they do, my message to you today on this great Saturday is, although you may be hearing a lot of negativity and a lot of people don't know what tomorrow would bring, I have to tell you that trust in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He knows what his plan is. I can't come up here and tell you the letter of his plan because I don't know. I don't know. But rest assured that the God that we serve has a plan. And every time I have a chance and I sit with our elder and I say, well, is there going to be a time where it's almost like what the apostles asked the Christ, when he would restore the tribes of Israel again? And he says, no man really know at the time nor the hour. But you know there will be a time. And elder would just say, just continue doing what we are doing. Heads down, just continue doing what we are doing. Just believe in it. Believe in it. Just believe in it. Continue doing what we are doing. And I believe in it. I truly do. I believe in it. Sure, there are days that do test you, and you don't know what tomorrow shall bring. But I have to admit that with the strength of this nation and those among the brethren and those who are supporting us, it gives us the energy to continue and to keep having faith in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And yes, there's no coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. When the closure of the 400 years happened, 2019, COVID-19 came and shut the entire world down. How was that engineered? How? When Elder was saying years and we did the 2019 video and some people put laughing emoji, ha ha ha, ha, false prophets, ha 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 ha. Then they couldn't even leave their home at 2019. Couldn't go to the shopping mall. But before that, ha 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 ha, false prophets, ha 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 ha. Then they were house arrest for 2 years. In 2019 it began. And God says, I will judge that nation whom you shall serve, and afterward shall you, my people, come out with great substance. That great substance will be realized starting first from here. Starting first from here. To the Jews first, then to the Gentiles. First starting here. But we got to unite. We have to unite. The call is still out there for you. Elder would say, send an email. Text us. You got the number? Call us. Leave a message. And let's have dialogue so our people can start uniting. And I have to tell you this, because again, everyone fears when you talk about that word unity. They think there's going to be uprising. And because of the deeds, they think we're going to repeat whatever was done to us. Our people are not a violent people. It's been never in our nature to go to a country and kidnap people, take their lands, kill all of them, and rob the land of their natural resources, and make profit for us and our children's children's children at the blood of other nations. The only time that we actually did something that you may want to debate is when God told Joshua to go into the land of Canaan and utterly destroy them. But that was a one-timer. And there was a reason for that, because God knows the minute that we dwell among strangers, we start to look at them as they are gods. And we would leave our God and serve their gods and serve their people and mingle among them and lose everything that we have, as it is right now today. The stay of the tribes are like the field Negroes, or the house Negroes, rather. The stay of the tribes are house Negroes. Don't want to get Massa upset. Want to always be in Massa's good book. The stay of the tribes, meaning black celebrities and black people of influence, is who I'm talking about. They are like house Negroes. Don't want to get Massa upset. And if Massa says, I don't like that slave, they agree with Massa. In fact, the house Negroes were the worst. Because if Massa went out to find you as a runaway slave, you may have a chance. But when you get the black one to go find a runaway slave, he'd break every bone in your body just so Massa can look and say, well done, well done. The black one that goes out to find a runaway slave is worse than the Massa when he catches that slave. So he can get a high five from Massa. That is the truth. And with that, I want to wish you guys the very, very best. New moon is coming up Thursday. So from Wednesday evening to Thursday evening, keep it holy. Keep it holy. Lift your hands towards heaven, face eastwards, and call upon the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And with that, I salute you, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
Praises to the God of Abraham, Isaac, For when we are in one accord, if he moves and she moves and we move as one, yeah, we're connected, deeper roots in this love. For the God of Israel, spirit's thicker than blood. Hey, hey, hey. If he moves and she moves and we move as one, yeah, we're connected, deeper roots in this love. For the God of Israel, spirit's thicker than blood. Hey, we could move mountains or part the Red Sea when we pray in unity. We can build homes and make them everything that we wish them to be. When we are in one accord, there's nothing more our God loves to see. As we praise him in one body, oh, glory is what we feel. If he moves and she moves and we move as one, yeah, we're connected, deeper roots in this love. Oh, the God of Israel, spirit thicker than blood, 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 blood. If he moves and she moves